This is Joy Roland, and you are listening to the Empowered Wealthy Women podcast. This is episode number 40. We know that money is created by value, and we know how to create value. Welcome to Empowered Wealthy Women, a podcast for ambitious women who want to build wealth. You'll learn how to finally fix your relationship with money, increase your net worth, and make more money. Ladies, it's time to create a life of abundance, wealth, empowerment, and joy. Ready? Let's go! Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 40 of the Empowered Wealthy Women podcast. I'm so excited to be with you today, as I always am. I hope you're doing very well. Can you believe February is almost over? Like, where is this year going to? Like, the year is going so fast. I hope you are keeping tabs on your goals because before you know it, 2024 will be over. And when we get to Christmas of 2024, I want to celebrate with you all of the successes you would have achieved in this year. So it's just a wake up call that you keep tabs on your goals and make sure that you are taking massive action. So last episode I did a brief rant about the difference between massive action and passive action. Many of us take passive action, and passive action is consuming. So you consume materials, you take more courses online, you watch other people training videos, and you just avoid doing the thing that will move your business forward. So that contrasts to massive action. Massive action is contribution. Massive action is creating value. So you create value for other people to consume. And we know that when we create value, that's how we create wealth. So we've been going through a series. So I created what I call the 12 steps that empowered wealthy women know. These 12 things you have to believe from all of your inside. Like you have to believe it 100% because it is this belief that will help you create wealth. We have 12 of them. I'll just run through all 12. So if you're just hearing for the first time, you have a good background of where we are going to with these 12 things. Number one, we know we have to teach ourselves what's possible. Two, we know the difference between success, happiness, and being a good person. Three, we know that creating value is what creates money, and we know how to create value. Four, we know that extraordinary success includes lots and lots of money. Five, we know that life is 50-50. Six, we know failure is the price of success. Seven, we know we don't get the how until we get there. Eight, we know it's not better there than here. Nine, we know we are already 100% worthy. We are not trying to make money to prove our worth. We are already worthy. 10, we know it's hard and we can do hard things. 11, we prioritize self care because we know it's very important. 12, we know we deserve love and we are empowered to only be in loving relationships. Abuse isn't tolerated. So, in this episode, we are in step number 3 of our 12 steps, which is we know that money is created by value and we know how to create value. You see, money is something we've made up to represent value. It's literally a piece of paper that we all agree means something. That's really it. If you think about it, most money simply resides on a computer screen somewhere. It's not even in paper form. So the computer numbers represent the paper money, which represents the value we all agree to assign to that money. This is very important to understand and to spend some time actually thinking about it. Money represents value, but notice how value is very subjective. It's a very subjective thing. What people value is different. Different people value different things. One person may value a diamond so much they are willing to spend $200,000 for it, and another person might value education more and would rather spend that $200,000 getting a master's degree. The money is exactly the same thing, the exact same value, but the value of what that money buys is very subjective and personal. So it differs for different people. When you're thinking about creating value in order to create money, you have to remember that what people think is going to determine whether or not what we are offering is of value to them and how much they value the money, the representation of value, versus how much they value the results you're offering them. Take the example of being an employee for a large company. You will get paid based on the value the manager or owner believes you will bring to the company. The value you are able to offer that company will be worth what your end result delivers to them. Unfortunately, this is not how most people think about making money. They think the job is worth a certain amount of money, like salary, and that salary is predetermined by some law somewhere. It is not. There is no law somewhere that defines how much a lawyer or a doctor should be paid. It's completely and totally arbitrary. It doesn't matter what decisions were previously made in any company or any job description for that matter. If you can show and prove that you can provide tremendous value for that company, they will be willing to pay for that value if it gives them a result they want. So here's an example. If I walk into a job interview for an admin job, for example, and the pay they're offering is $75,000, I might be tempted to think that the job is only worth that to me and is only worth that to them. I might think that the only thing possible in that job is $75,000 worth of value and $75,000 worth of money. But if I was able to show during the interview, if I was able to show the hiring manager that my value of working there would help the company make an additional $1 million and save the CEO 10 hours of work time per week, you can be sure they'll be willing to listen and most likely hire me to add that much value to the company. Now, the hours we work for ourselves or for another company are not what is valued. 1 hour isn't worth a certain amount of money to any business. It's what we produce in that 1 hour that we are being paid for creating. We create the valuable results and they pay us for that result. If I'm a designer, I get paid for my designs. If I'm a waitress, I get paid for creating a satisfied customer who then pays for that value. If I'm an entrepreneur, which I am, I get paid for getting my customers a result that they value. This is how money works, my friend. So, the question I usually get next is this: how do I create more value so I can create more money? It's the question I think more people need to ask themselves even more often. Too many people ask themselves how they can go and get more money or how they can ask for more money or what jobs pays what money when really that leaves them depending on the world to pay them from a very expectant point of view. So the expectation of the world to pay you kind of keeps you stuck because you are only going to be paid based on what the world thinks you're worth. The much better question is this: how can I create more value? And even better, how can I create extraordinary value in order to create extraordinary success for myself, which is what most women want. We want to create extraordinary success, which then translates to extraordinary wealth. Don't, when you ask yourself these questions, don't try to start big when answering the question. Start small. Think about your current job right now. Think about the value you are providing and the money you are getting paid. You are getting paid for the exact value that you're recognized for providing. Now, you may argue that you should be paid more for the value that you provide, but that's irrelevant at this point. The value is always determined by the person paying, not the person creating the value. This is actually very good news and not something to be upset about. If you find the right person who values the right thing you offer, you can create extraordinary value for money. So often we have a mismatch of value being offered to the wrong people for not enough money. Here's an example. Imagine you are a five-star chef, you have all the qualifications, Michelin star, all of those qualifications. You're a five-star chef and you take a job at a high school cafeteria. You can spend 20 years there trying to prove and convince the principal or the students of your value and trying to get a raise. But you will always be limited because you are not offering the right value to the right people. In fact, what you have to offer is not valuable to them, and it will only be worth what they are willing to pay at the high school. Now, if you take that same value and you offer it to foodies in a beautiful restaurant in an upscale neighborhood, you will be able to create extraordinary success with the value you can offer. The person paying always determines the value. So this means what you have to offer is worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it. Always remember, value is in the eye of the customer, and it is therefore very important to create the right value for the right customer. In my experience, I have found that there is no limit to the value that we can create. We can create a lot of value for a few people who are willing to pay us a lot of money for it, or we can create value for lots and lots of people who are willing to pay us less, but there will always be more of them paying. So it will always need to be a balanced exchange between what you create of value and what will come back to you in terms of success and money creation. The way I choose to do this personally is to always over deliver. I realize that the value always comes back to me if I just keep creating the value. It doesn't always have to be immediate, and it always makes me create more value to be a contributor and therefore to be a much more successful person. I have worked on this with clients who work as full time employees, and I have seen it with business owners, including myself. It works the exact same way with both. A client who is an employee in a company will tell me that they want to make more money and ask if I can ask them if I can help them ask for a raise at work. I always start by asking them about the value they are currently creating. I ask them if they are creating the maximum value for the position they are capable of creating within their work week. Surprisingly, most of them will answer that they are not. They are not creating the maximum amount of value that they can create. They usually admit that they could be doing so much more and they don't think anyone will notice or that it won't matter. So they simply do only what's expected of them. They do the bare minimum so as not to lose their job. Others might say that they are busting their ass and working crazy hours and showing up early, leaving late, and still their boss isn't recognizing their accomplishments. In both instances, I always just roll my eyes. They have completely missed the big picture of how value is created and paid for. They have been misinformed or haven't seen the bigger picture. The first question is this: what does the person paying you value? What is the most valuable thing you could do for them? Do you even know? Unfortunately, most people don't. How can you possibly ask for a raise if you don't even know what they will be very excited to pay you for doing? What do you think they find so valuable that if you did it, they would be so thrilled to give you a raise or promote you or give you a bonus? The second question is this: how do you want to provide value? What do you want your contribution to be? Answer this question regardless if anyone sees you working or even acknowledges what you've done. At the end of each day, if you want to make a contribution with your work so you can be proud of your job, what does that look like for you? I can tell you this, it doesn't matter what job you put me in, I'm going to aim to be the most valuable person in that company. I'm going to be the most valuable employee who has ever done that job. I will lay myself out to become more valuable, to create the biggest contribution, and to put my head on the pillow at night and feel so proud of the work I've done for that day. I won't be proud because someone saw my work and said it was great, but because I did it. I'll be proud of myself because I did it, regardless of whether someone recognized me or not. I know for sure that when I believe I am valuable because of the contribution I'm making, then it's just a matter of time before I find someone else who will recognize me and be willing to pay me for that value. You see, empowered, wealthy women have all figured out how to create massive value for people who are willing to pay for that value. We don't try to make money from nothing. We get paid for creating value. There is no way around this. Often, the value creation happens years before the success, but it always happens. Here is an example, my podcast. I started my podcast November 2023, and so far I've recorded 40 episodes. Like, even me, I can't believe it, right? Now, I might not get paid based on what I've done so far. Maybe I don't get paid right now, but as I keep creating value and more people listen to my podcast, for sure, the money will come back to me because I have created value. We know we are valuable in our ideas, our effort, our time. We act in accordance with this knowing, and we are paid when the value we offer is recognized by the person who is paying for it. It's our job to create the value and find the person who needs it and values it. Not, the last example I'll give you is this podcast is called Empowered Wealthy Women, and my goal is to empower women to stop under earning and start earning their worth. If a 5-year-old boy stumbled on my podcast, do you think he would find the podcast valuable? The answer is most likely no, right? So I need to make sure I offer my podcast to people who will see the value. So here's your homework for this week. I want you to write out the value you are currently creating in exchange for money. How valuable is it to the person you are offering it to? Ask them what they truly value and create more of what they value. That is the secret to wealth, my friends. So if you're an employee, you need to identify what your manager values. So it doesn't make sense to just work longer hours, come in early, and leave late. It's completely useless if you don't know what your manager values. So your job is to identify what your manager values and then create that value. That's how you create wealth. And if you are a business owner like I am, you have to find out what your audience values and create more of that value. So excited for you. This is all I have for you, my friend. As always, please share this podcast with a friend who you think will find value from what I share. And please, if you haven't done so already, please leave me a review. This is how my podcast will be seen by more people and it will encourage me to keep going. I value you. I love you. I might not have met you, but I love you for listening to my podcast. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you in the next episode. Hey, very quickly before you go, if you are ready to finally fix your relationship with money, increase your net worth, and make more money, then I invite you to my one-on-one private coaching program. This is where you learn how to take control of your money and build wealth. To get started, book a free intro call with me. The link is in the show notes. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.